everyone, I'm Trisha, a writer and a gardener, and welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the basics of indoor plant care because it's a really important subject, and without getting a hang of these things, it's like stumbling about in the dark. But once you're familiar with these concepts, it'll mean that you can grow and care for just about any plant that comes your way. If you're new here, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can stay updated on all the plant guides and stories that I put up weekly. Now let's begin. There are 4 fundamental plant care basics, and the most important point about them is that they are all interdependent and connected. You can't just cherry pick one of these factors because none of these things work in isolation. Think of it as a holistic plant care guide. The 4 fundamental factors are light, soil, water, and your environmental conditions. Light sits at the very top of this hierarchy because for plants, light is food. I've made a very detailed video about light, so do check it out because it explains everything about the light our houseplants need. But getting back, plants convert sunlight into sugars and chemicals in a process called photosynthesis, which we all know about. But here's the thing, the plants we buy from our nurseries are usually grown outdoors under these green shade cloths, right? So they receive ample light throughout the day. However, the light in our homes is a totally different story because light indoors is almost 50% or less. We receive 50% or less light indoors. But to have healthy houseplants, we must ensure that we give them enough light. But what is enough light, right? Most of our indoor plants come from tropical parts of the world. In their natural habitat, they grow in the understories of jungles and forests where they receive dappled light throughout the day. In our homes, we can mimic this by placing our plants as close to our windows and doors where they receive some morning sunlight, direct morning sunlight, and bright indirect light throughout the day. But never put your green tropical plants, green leafy plants in the harsh afternoon light because it will burn their leaves. If you have poor light indoors, try placing mirrors or other reflective surfaces near your windows and doors so that light can reflect off these surfaces and travel further into your home. You can also use full spectrum LED lights above your plants. Just remember that the more colorful or the brighter your plants' leaves are, the more their light requirement. A good way of finding out if your plants are getting enough light is to really go down to their level. Yes, right down on the floor or the table or wherever you've put your plants, and to check what the plants can see. The plant should have a direct line of sight to some sky or some sun. And don't listen to anyone who says that some varieties of plants can grow in no light. That is a myth and a marketing tactic. All plants need light. Of course, some varieties like cacti and succulents need more light than plants like, say, begonias or ferns, but that is just a specific light requirement. The fact is that all plants need some amount of light. The second factor is soil. To gardeners, after light, soil is everything. Soil is rich in beneficial microbes and nutrients which feed our plants. But what kind of soil is good for our plants? When we buy our plants from nurseries, you'll notice that the soil is usually red or black and feels really heavy and claggy in the pot. This kind of soil is normal garden soil with a little bit of manure or some fertilizer mixed in. Now the thing is, this kind of soil works fine in nurseries because the plants are usually grown outside where they receive quite a bit of light. The more light there is, the faster evaporation takes place and the faster the soil will dry. Indoors, however, you don't want your plants sitting in wet, heavy or claggy soils for too long because this is what causes a plant's death. 90% of the time, a plant dies because of root rot. What is root rot? Root rot happens when the plant's roots are wet or drowning in water for long periods. Eventually, they turn mushy and they fall off, and thus they are unable to send up nutrients to the plant above the soil surface. For houseplants, I generally prefer a soil that is fast draining, porous and airy. However, there are a few things to keep in mind, and this is tied to our fourth point, environmental factors. If you live in a hot and arid place, your soil should have more water retentive properties like cocoa peat, cocoa chips, which hold on to water better. And if you live in a humid and wet place like say Kerala or Mumbai, you need to add some aerating properties into your soil like perlite and bark, which allow water to drain away quickly. Once you get a hang of this, you will be able to successfully grow any kind of houseplant anywhere. If you missed my video on soil, do hit the link because I go into great detail about the secrets of soil for houseplants. The third factor is watering, and I only have a few things to say about this. And they are that never water on a schedule because it doesn't work like that for plants. Always check if your plants need water before you water them. A plant that needs water will often have drooping leaves and the soil will be dry. Most people use the finger test method to see if the soil is dry. However, that can be a little problematic as sometimes the top soil may be dry, but the middle and bottom layers may still be wet. The best trick is to gently pry a chopstick into the side of your pot as far down as it will go, and if it comes back wet, it means your plant doesn't need that drink. Always water early in the morning so that the soil has enough time to dry out before the hot afternoon sun sets in. This will prevent leaf burn and a host of other issues. Always water into the soil, not splashing onto the leaves, because water on foliage can lead to burn, mold, fungus, and attract lots of pests. Watering in the evening also comes with a bunch of problems such as mold and fungus. So water early, water in the morning. My last point is environmental conditions. And the thing to remember is that your environment should dictate your plant care, not the other way around. If you live in Delhi or somewhere where it's really hot and dry, you may need to water your plants more often, sometimes even twice a day, when compared to someone who lives in say Shillong or Dehradun. In wet and warm places, terracotta pots are better because clay is a porous material and it allows excess water to drain, while in hot and arid regions, plastic pots are more efficient because they hold on to water better and it will save you the trouble of watering twice a day. Then, unlike hotter regions, in cooler regions, there will be clear rest and growing seasons when one has to stop watering and feeding their plants that go into winter dormancy. Think about where you live, the light your home receives, and adjust your soil, watering, and feeding schedules accordingly. Once you do this, you will have a more holistic understanding of gardening and your plants will begin to thrive. So there you have it. To have healthy plants, we need to shift our focus and look at plant care more holistically, which ultimately will help us understand and keep our plants so much better. I really hope you like this video. Do give it a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel because it helps me keep making these videos for you. See you next week.